unified liberal democracy.
There were lots of illusions about what could be accomplished in Iraq. And they simply ignored the reality of Iraq. The fundamental reality of Iraq is that there are not very many people who consider themselves Iraqis. To try to build a unified Iraq in these circumstances is mission impossible.
The idea that a post-Saddam Iraq could become a beacon of freedom and democracy in the Middle East is pure fantasy. In the wake of the invasion, Iraq is heading in a quite different and much more menacing direction. I'm in the relative safety of an American base just outside Baghdad's northern suburb, Sadr City. Here, US soldiers can relax before going out to spread American values. This kind of missionary work is a key part of our duties. At this year's 4th of July prayer breakfast in the town of Tikrit, 80 miles north of Baghdad, this unabashed pride in the American way of life was plain to see.
We are giving the people of this region an opportunity to choose for themselves. Our belief is that they will learn the goodness of democracy and the beauty of freedom, and their inalienable right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
I tell them the most important thing that we've given you is your freedom, and now the power is within the people and with you to organize yourselves. Freedom, that's the greatest gift that anybody could get.
There certainly are Iraqis trying to build a free and democratic country. One such man is the chairman of the district council in Sadr City. But in working to bring about change, he is risking his life.
You are a very brave man, because 7 members of the DAC out of the 20 members have been murdered, have they not, since July 2003?
No.
You too have received death threats and so on?
نعم قبل أسبوع تعرضت إلى محاولة اغتيال. فإحنا راح نستقتل على إنه نبني بلدنا، لأنه العراق أصبح عراق العراقيين. حتى لو أنا استشهد أو أقتل أكو من يجي يكمل المسيرة.
You can't fail to admire the bravery of men like Hussein Sharma, who are trying to deliver on the ground a free and democratic Iraq. That was also the purpose of the grand ceremony that took place a few months ago to sign the new Iraqi constitution. Supporters of the constitution say it is a major step forward in bringing together the disparate Sunnis, Kurds and Shiites and lay the foundations for a united country.
This is a birthday of a nation. Today, a new Iraq was born.
You can have a pluralistic society that has both elements that pull the society apart in different directions, but also has elements that bring them together. This Constitution is an attempt to do this.
The making of this Constitution has entailed an effort to come to grips with that, to find the right balance between central authority and a unified state and local authority embodying local traditions and attitudes.
That may be what the Constitution is supposed to do, but it opens the way to the breakup of Iraq. Peter Galbraith, a guest of the Kurdish delegation, believes it heralds an independent Kurdistan.
This was much more a process that resembled the making of a peace treaty and not communities coming together to write the constitution of a country that they wanted to build together. What really is going on is that each of these communities is saying, we want to run our own affairs, and the Kurds would like independence. So it is a constitution that legalizes Kurdistan as a separate state within the overall framework of Iraq and ratifies the divisions of Iraq.
The irony is that the Constitution is likely to achieve the precise opposite of what the politicians intended. It's laying the groundwork for a divided and not a united country. Just as the elections earlier this year helped to widen the divide in Iraqi society. Western politicians don't say that. According to them, the elections were an important milestone on the way to a democratic Iraq.
What the Iraqi people demonstrated was that they value the opportunity to vote enough to be willing to risk their lives to do it.
But when Iraqis actually voted in those elections, Shia voted for Shia, Sunni for Sunni, and Kurd for Kurd. It was nothing like the kind of free vote which we mean by democracy. The next elections take place in mid-December. Contrary to what the coalition would have us believe, the outcome here in Sadr city is quite clearly in the hands of the extremist Shiite cleric, Muqtada al-Sadr. Al-Sadr's not standing for election. In fact, is wanted in connection with the murder of a moderate Shia opponent. But his image dominates Sadr city. In fact, the place now bears his family name. It used to be called Saddam City.
Who is the man in the photograph?
سيد مقتدى. سيد مقتدى.
Said Muqtada.
نعم مقتدى.
Shukran.
أهلا وسهلا. أهلا وسهلا.
People here only appear to be voting freely.
Yes. What are you waiting for Muqtada al-Sadr to tell you who to vote for?
نعم.
Yes.
ننتظر أمر من المراجع الدينية.
They're saying that they're waiting for an order from Muqtada al-Sadr, and after that they will know who to vote for. Shukran. Shukran.
Even though the local result is already decided, the Americans were eager to show me that preparations for a democratic election were underway. They took me to a school which will be used as a polling station during next month's elections. But when I got there was a problem.
Just before we came in here, we tried to interview the headmaster. The American troops wanted him to speak to us. He wouldn't do it because he was terrified of the Sadr Bureau, and they give strict orders to him not to talk to the press.
Even a mainstream local politician like Hussein Sharma admits that voting is hardly free and fair.
It isn't what I understand by a democracy when people take orders about how they should vote.
هو ديمقراطيتهم صار له أكثر من 400 سنة، وديمقراطية أمريكا أكثر من 200 سنة، لكن ديمقراطيتنا صار له سنتين.
On their first democratic elections earlier this year, an impressive 58% turned out to vote. Most voters were Shiites, and it was militant Shiite politicians who won most of the seats. And elections this December will go the same way.
No doubt these elections will be hailed as a success, and new Iraqi MPs swear their allegiance to the new Iraqi state. The problem, though, is this. The Shias may use their majority to push through hardline Islamic policies, a prospect that will terrify the Sunni minority, the Kurds in the north, and most of all,